Hello, it's again Andrew Nyamayaro from Tanlo Solicitors, and it's a good day today. We've had a bit of warm weather here in England, particularly in Coventry, where the temperature is currently around 12 degrees Celsius, which is really a nice and warm weather for us. So today I'm here to make a presentation again on law. But today I want to touch on a few points that I want to comment on in terms of employment law and HR. So some of us might be aware that the laws are changing in terms of employment law from the next coming month, which is April. We were aware of the Employment Rights Bill, which was enacted in December and became the Employment Rights Act in December 2025 on the 18th, and it received the royal assent on the 24th of December 2025. Now, the Employment Rights Act is starting to be implemented, and some of the implementing that is going to happen is what I'm going to comment on. So the first point that I want to comment on in terms of the changes that are going to start in December, I beg your pardon, not in December, in April rather, because it was enacted in December. That's why I'm confusing myself there, but it's taking effect from April. So the statutory sickness pay. The statutory sickness pay is going to be a day one right. Currently and in the past, you were entitled to statutory sickness pay from the fourth day going forward, and you would then be entitled to it for 28 weeks. And now, statutory sickness pay is starting from the day one that you fall sick. So you don't have to wait if you're an employee for 3 days for you to be paid. If you're an employer, then you know that the employees will still be paid statutory sickness pay from day one. And again, on statutory sickness pay, it is increasing because at the moment it's around 118 pounds per week, but it's going to increase from that to 123 or so pounds per week. So that's going to be another increment, which is a benefit for the employees, but again, it will be a challenge for the employers, especially that it's going to be a day one right, and also that there will be an increase in the payment that is required in terms of the staff. So statutory sickness pay is going to change. Then point number two, there is also going to be statutory pay rate rises. So the maternity, the paternity, the shared parental are going to increase again on the weekly basis to a new weekly statutory cap or 90% of earnings, whichever of that is lower. So that is a good benefit for the employees as well, because it's going to be increased. And then now, in light with the changes that the family are enjoying, there's the family leave reforms, which mainly touch on paternity leave. So the paternity leaves are also going to become day one rights. So from day one, someone will be entitled to paternity leave. It will also be there for unpaid paternity leave. And also, if you are a step parent, then and the parent of the adopted child or whoever it is passes away, then the right is also going to operate in your favor. So this again is meant to give more rights to the employees, more flexibility to the employees, and so forth. So the things that I'm commenting on are the ones that are going to be implemented as soon as possible. from the month of April. The Employment Rights Act is going to be implemented over a period of time. So it's not everything that is going to be done in April. You need to be checking what's happening. And if you are an employer, you need to make sure that your business is ready for this. You've got all the policies, all the contracts, all the procedures put in place for these changes. And also, you have the sufficient budget because most of it will be hitting on the pocket of the employer. If you have got any questions that you have, whether it's pertaining to employment law or it's pertaining to immigration, I'm more than happy to answer those questions if they're coming from a general point of view. Any bespoke advice pertaining to your particular circumstances, you will need to consult the office. You will need to make an appointment so that we can discuss your particular circumstances privately and in a professional manner. Here we just do updates in general terms without necessarily touching each and everyone's case in detail. So another change that is going to come in terms of employment law is the Fair Work Agency. This is a single enforcement body which will be there from next month, which is established with stronger powers to investigate and enforce employment rights. So employers, be aware that there is this agency that is being rolled out. I think then it was necessitated by what was happening, particularly in the care sector, where there's serious allegations of people being abused in the care sector and so forth. So this organization will be there to make sure that it enforces the rights of employees and that they are protected, and it will have a lot of regulatory powers and enforcement powers. So be aware of the Fair Work Agency that is being brought out by the government. If you've got any questions, just put them in the chat or send them on my WhatsApp. I'll be able to see them and answer those questions. There is also changes that are coming up in terms of protected characteristics. So something that is going to be added to protected characteristics is whistleblowing on sexual harassment. If you report someone for sexual harassment, it now becomes a protected characteristic, which means that you've got more rights. You do, for example, you might not have to wait for 3 months. You might not have to wait longer before it can be reported, or you don't have to wait for the period where you have to wait for it to be taken action upon. So it's now a protected characteristic. Another thing that is also going to change is the national minimum wage. There's going to be an increase in national minimum wage, and I'm sure all of us, we are aware that these changes are going to happen, as they normally happen every start of the financial year, the changes in the salaries and pay, etc. So there's also going to be changes for the trade unions with wider reforms that are expected, and this will strengthen the trade union access and the influence of the trade unions. And later in the year, we are yet to see what the reforms will be like. So those are the changes that are going to happen, at least in the immediate future. When it comes to employment law, number one, SSP becomes an immediate right, and then also the statutory rates are going to increase as well, including the statutory sick pay, the maternity, the paternity, the adoption, etc. They're all going to increase. And the Fair Work Agency is also going to be introduced, and sexual harassment, whistleblowing becomes a protected characteristic. So if you're an employer, you need to be ready for this, and if you're an employee, you need to be aware of how you can benefit from this as well. So I'm now going to check for questions online. If you've got any question that you have, pertaining to employment law or pertaining to immigration law, I'll be more than happy to respond to that. At the moment, I just have greetings. So let me just check on the other platforms that is also streaming to see if there's any questions that are there. If you've got any questions, you can send online or you can send them on my WhatsApp, which is appearing on the screen. Okay, I'm just going to look at a message that I've received on WhatsApp. Okay, someone has been granted immigration bail, and they're asking me what does that mean if you've been granted immigration bail. So someone is given immigration bail where they do not have leave to remain. If their leave to remain has expired, they don't have a legal stay in the UK, and the Home Office wants to monitor your movements and wants to know your whereabouts, they will give you immigration bail. So in terms of immigration bail, they will also give you certain conditions. Normally, the conditions could be that you have to report. Either you report face to face or by text or through a digital means, or you go to the nearest Home Office, or you go to the nearest police station, whichever is convenient or whatever the Home Office says. So you can then comply with the requirements of the bail using the means that the Home Office said you have to report. So some of the conditions would be you might be asked to be tagged, although that has always been challenged by most people that you don't need to be tagged. And also they might put a condition that you're not allowed to work, you're not allowed to go to for education and all the other things that you might be doing. So yeah, so with this that I have received on my WhatsApp, it's an immigration bail. It's important for someone to comply with the immigration bail, because if you do not comply with the immigration bail, you risk being detained and ultimately being removed from the country. Or if you then get your visa, if any breach that you might have done on the immigration bail will be counted against you, it will go against your good character that the Home Office looks at, good character and suitability. So yeah, that's about the immigration bail. So if you have received the letter about immigration bail, you need to comply. And for the person that has received this one, they are requested to do digital reporting. So the Home Office will give you further information as to how you can digitally report. Otherwise, if not, you can get in touch with me and we can see how we can signpost you on how you can digitally report to the Home Office. So that's one of the questions that I had that I've received about immigration bail, and also which also touches on suitability and good character and compliance, which is important. So if you've got any questions, please, this is your opportunity to ask me the questions before I sign out. Any questions on employment law? Is your employer treating you well? Are your employees treating you well? Are they coming to work? Are they absconding? Is the employer paying you or not? And what are your rights? If you've got any questions, I can assist you in that regard, or immigration questions as well. Okay, it seems I don't have any further questions. So with that, I will sign out and I say thank you to you all.